Hey all you lovely otters, I'm going to do a quick little tutorial on how to enable toggles for those fancy spring joint balls by Rivo. It's not too hard, but it is a little time consuming, so figured it would be easier to create a YouTube video or something like that so multiple people can benefit. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert in Unity or VRChat, but I did figure out how to do it, and if someone has an easier way, they can probably post some hints or something like that. But anyway, first we need to import the actual assets themselves into Unity. I've already done that for a few different things, but there's at least one of them that I haven't, so we'll go ahead and do that. So import these assets. Of course, in a video, it always seems to take a little bit longer than normal. Either that or I, of course, just grabbed the biggest one to test with. I feel like I need some hold music right now. All right, here we go. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and check out these files. All right, so this prefab right here is what we need. We'll go ahead and drag that here into the avatar that we're going to be using. I'm going to go ahead and rename this one, make that one left. That way I know which one it is. And we'll kind of move that to where we want it. So we'll start here. There's definitely some good tutorials on how to do this part, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. Just kind of get it so that it's looking good. Yeah, that's good enough. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to cheat a little bit. We'll drag another one up here. We're going to rename this one black hole right. And then we're going to copy these values. Just make sure you reverse the negativity of the x-axis. I'm sure there's a cooler way to say that, but I'm just going to copy and paste these values here. And there's those. So next we need to actually add some rigid bodies to the fingers. So, the index fingers here is what I'm using. Theoretically, you can kind of use whatever you want. So add a normal rigid body, not a 2D one, and then set all 6 of your constraints here. And we'll do that for the other index finger as well. Cool. And now we need to actually set the spring joint connected bodies here. So, left digit to left black hole and then right or right. So now's a good time to do a basic test real quick. So we'll go ahead and hit play and see how these work. So we'll grab a shoulder real quick. Yeah, that seems like it works. So hooray. At this point, you could upload and you'd be good to go, but then you're just going to always have those, and that can be a little annoying. So I'll show you how I did this. Like I said, there's probably better ways to do this, but what I did is I went into here so that I can find the actual FX and the menu and parameters. So I just click here and okay, cool. Takes you right here, but I'm going to make some copies of a lot of this. So that way we're not messing with the defaults just in case you need to revert back. So we're going to just call this tutorial. And I'm going to make a copy of a handful of these. So you can do that just by highlighting it and then hitting Control D for a lot of these. So the parameters, the menu, and the FX are what I'm making copies here. So FX tutorial, menu tutorial, and parameters tutorial. So I'm going to grab these and just toss them in this folder to make it a little clean. So cool. We have these, and I'm going to go ahead before I forget, actually set. The nice thing is these are just copies, so they'll have everything that was default in the Otter 2.0. So cool. We did that. Now we can make some modifications here. So when I like to start on the parameters because that's just where I like to start. So I'm going to call this one poi black hole left, poi black hole right. That way I can turn them off and on individually. And honestly, there's not really limits here. I can set up, I've got a few more parameters here, so I could totally do additional poi balls. So like if I wanted to do the poi dark matter left and poi dark matter right, I'm just going to put those in as placeholders. You want these to all of these be integers, so that's that. All right, and the menu. So this is where you can actually set the additional controls. And actually, it was the collar that Shade created that I more or less based this off of. So here we're going to add a control. We're going to call this one poi black hole left. If you've got a fancy picture, you can totally drag an icon into here, but I'm not going to for this. And I'm going to set this to a toggle. And then we get to select our parameter. So I'm going to just use the poi black hole left parameter. And then I'm going to have the value on as 1. So when this is turned on, so when you've actually selected it in VRChat, that will set this value to 1, and then it'll set it back to 0 when you toggle it off. So I'm going to go ahead and add controls for the black hole right. Black hole right, and might as well, since I'm in here, create some for poi dark matter left. And then one last one. Probably should make like a submenu for these at some point in time to make it a little easier to navigate when in VRChat. But for now, this will do. Okay, so this right here, makes it so that we actually have menus, but they're not really hooked up to anything, but that's okay. We got to spend a little bit of time making those animations and then tying everything together, which we'll do with the FX here in the animator. So if you don't have the animator or the animation windows here and here, you can go to window, animation, and then turn these on. Highly useful. I mean, you really kind of have to do that in order for all of this stuff to work. So cool. Now I'm going to stitch these together in a little bit because I need to get a drink real quick. All right, now I'm back, and now we're going to get into the fun of creating additional animations. So what I like to do is just go in here. We've already kind of created some copies of these. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create some animations here. So first we'll create animation. So I'm going to call this one poi black hole left on. I'm going to make a couple duplicates of these. So we'll call left off, right on, and right off. So these are what you're going to need to make in order to just get these 2 separate poi balls off and on. If you want to do additional ones, like if dark matter or fireball or the free variant, you'll basically be creating 4 animations for each. That's only if you want to actually have it toggle separately on each hand. You don't have to do that. You can make it so that you always have 2 or you always have 4, just on one toggle. This is just the way that I'm doing it based off of Kip's suggestion on the one that we just set up for him. So we've got these animations, but honestly, currently they do absolutely nothing. But that's okay. We'll get there. So the easiest way to do this is to select your avatar here. Make sure you're kind of at the root of it. Do Control D to duplicate it. You know, we want to do this on the actual duplication here. I also like to create a little test controller just because I hate seeing the default name when dragging and dropping stuff on there. So I'm just going to call this tutorial controller. That's fine. So we'll just select our copy here, and I'm going to drag this in the animator here. I'm going to drag this over here. Maybe if I select the right thing, the tutorial controller here. Hey, honestly, you don't actually have to do that, but I'm just doing that because. All right, so now we have that. And now we actually have to do some of these animations. So right now, because the poi balls are turned on, I'm going to go ahead and do the off animations first. So what I like to do is I like to grab all 4 of these, just kind of drag and drop here. That's attaching them to the tutorial controller that we made. And now when we go into animation, here's a fun little gotcha in Unity. Make sure you select your avatar here when you go to the animation tab. It has a bad habit of selecting off of it, which is a little annoying. And now we have our 4 animations here. And all we're trying to do is populate that animation data. So we're going to start with the left hand here, poi black hole left off. What I like to do is just hit the record here. And you don't need to worry too much about the copy here that it's made. That's fine. So what we want to do is we want to record what we're going to do when we're going to turn the black hole on the left off. So select the black hole. And now we want to turn off the mesh renderer here and the trail renderer here. We don't want to turn off the entire thing because the rigid body needs to stay intact. But then we want to select all of the things that are underneath that particular black hole and then uncheck here so those all go away. Cool. So this is all the stuff that we want to do when we're turning it off. We're going to select here, Control C, then move 1 frame over to the right just by clicking up here, and Control V to paste. So there we go. That animation has been created. It's not too bad. It's just a little annoying and tedious. Now we want to do the same thing with the turning the black hole on the right hand side off as well. So we're going to do the exact same things just on this one here. So we're going to record, select this, disable the mesh renderer and the trail renderer, and then disable all of these, uncheck, grab all of our keyframes, move 1 frame over to the right, and then cool. So now we have the animations for turning off the black hole, and now we need to actually do the ones where it's turned on. I find the easiest thing to do here is when we actually turn left on. They're all on already, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually go ahead and turn them all off before doing the animation. Again, there's probably an easier way to do all this, but I'm going to go ahead and do this for both of them. I should probably fast forward through all of this so you don't have to sit through it, but you know, I'm not going to. You can just go ahead and skip ahead if you don't want to watch these ones as well. But let's go ahead and record. We'll turn this on, all of these things we'll turn back on. A little tedious, but not too bad. And then we're going to do the same thing with turning the right hand side on, record, turn all of these on, copy, paste. Cool. So now we have our animations, and honestly, we don't need this thing anymore. So you can delete your duplicated copy here. The main thing was we were adding data into these animations. So cool. Goodbye. Now we're back to this lovely boy. And we have animations that actually have some animation data. Hooray. Now, next, we actually need to edit the FX, and I'll do a quick cut, and then we'll come back. And we're back, and now it's time to do the fun animation portion, or more fun animation portion. So go ahead and select your copy for your FX here, and then go to the animator. So you'll probably end up on the layers tab here, but we'll go ahead and go into the parameters. So what I actually like to do is just pull up my parameters here as well, just so I don't forget what they're all called. It's easy for me to just go ahead and copy paste. So we'll do that. We're going to add all of these as integers. And again, you don't have to do all 4 of them if you're only just doing the 2 poi balls. You only have to do 1 if you're going to have them all selected just from that one. But if you want to keep the left and right hands separately, you'll need all 4 parameters. So next we're going to go into the layers tab, and we're going to go ahead and add some layers here. So first we're going to create a new one, and we'll call this one poi black hole left. And then we're going to create another one, poi black hole right. I'm not going to go and do all of the others for all of the different, balls, but you can if you want. And before you forget, change the weights of these to 1. That is something that totally messed me up for quite a while. Didn't know you had to do that. You really do. You totally have to. So anyway, go ahead and select your animation layer here, and we're going to drag and drop our animation. So I like to have the default on these to be off when spawning in. So what we're going to do is we're going to drag the off here, and it creates our entry here. So you just double check that that's the right thing, back and forth. Cool, it is. And then we're going to go ahead and have the on dropped in over here. Then we're going to make a transition from off to on, and then a transition from on back to off. Now, if you select the actual transition arrows here, you'll see, we need to add a condition. So our condition is going to be based off of the parameters that are being set. So when the black hole left equals 1, so when it's turned on in your actual gesture toggle menu, then we're going to go this direction and play the on animation. And then for the reverse direction, we want to add a condition for poi black hole left equals 0. So when it's turned off, it'll get turned back off. And then we're going to do the exact same thing here for the right hand side. So poi black hole right off, then poi black hole right on, and then make our transitions, and then set our actual conditions here. Poi black hole right equals 1, we'll turn it on. And then when it equals, when poi black hole right equals 0, we turn it back off. Cool. Those are in there. And those are our animations. They should be attached at this point. So if we go back here, now what we need to do is we actually need to tell our avatar to use these actual animations. Oh wait, we already did that. That was one of our early steps. I just forgot that many times in the past. So we should be more or less good to go. So hopefully it builds, hopefully it deploys, hopefully it works in VRChat. We'll go ahead and test that real quick. All right, now we're going to go ahead and try and build and deploy our Awterrs. Alex Awterrs 2.0. I'm going to auto fix that, build and publish. And then, maybe I'll be nice and actually fast forward through this part, because otherwise I don't think you want to hear my voice the entire time. I swear it takes longer and longer to upload this stuff to VRChat. So we're going to go ahead and test that and see if it works. Okay, let's see if this actually worked first try. This is weird. I'm not used to being in sitting mode. Let's sitting play. There we go. Okay. Now, let's see if our gestures menu worked. Okay, obviously we have a little bit more than what we first created, but we have black hole on the right. Hey, look at that. It worked. And then black hole on the left. Hey, look at that. They totally worked. And so, I mean, you can really set up as many of these as your heart desires. I'll probably set up a handful more. Maybe I'll also do a tutorial on how to make submenus for this. But it's not too bad. So hopefully this helps some people. And hopefully you have some fun throwing those spring ball joints all around. All right. Well, have a good one. Bye.